Give Kyle Shanahan the ball 70 yards away from the end zone and he's a genius. Give him the ball 4 yards away from the end zone and he seems to run out of ideas, particularly in the run game. It's a play from week 8 last season. They're at the 4-yard line. It's a standard inside zone play. Loses 2 yards. Now, why did it lose 2 yards? The Niners have a very good run game. It ranked 12th overall in yards per carry. But in the low red zone, which is inside the 12-yard line, they averaged 1 yard per carry, worst in the league, and scored only 5 rushing touchdowns, third worst in the league. Let's look at why. First thing you notice, they're on the 4-yard line, but they're in their standard personnel grouping: 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. The same thing they would use on their own 25-yard line. The Cardinals have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in the box. So you have 7 blocking 9. That's a problem. Watch what happens. No one blocks this guy. You got 7 blocking 9. No one's blocking him. Let's look at it from the end zone. Kyle Shanahan doesn't like calling outside zone runs in the low red zone because, as you see, the safeties are way too close to the line of scrimmage. You need to call things that push the defense backward, not stretch it horizontally. So he calls inside zone here. You can see it's inside zone because you're going to get some double teams and they're going to try to push defensive linemen backwards. I'll show you the double teams. Here's one here, and here's one here. They're trying to push these guys backward. No one blocks him. That makes it an inside zone play. This is the play the Niners use most of the time in the low red zone. They're not very effective with it. All right, here's the 49ers trying to run the same play from the same yard line, from the same personnel grouping week 1 against the Vikings. So it's going to be inside zone from 21 personnel grouping, 1 tight end, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. The Niners base personnel grouping from the 4-yard line against a very good defense, trying to run up the middle. This time, the Niners are going to dress up the play a little bit by bringing a jet sweep motion. You'll see Pettis run across, but it's the same play. You got the double team here. They're trying to push this guy backward. And you'll notice when it comes to pushing the defense backward, the Niners aren't very good at this. And again, let's look at it one more time. Who's on the field? 2 wide receivers, and one of them is running a jet sweep. The idea of this play is to sort of trick the defense. They're 4 yards away from the end zone, and they're trying to trick the defense. Most offenses in this situation at the 4-yard line turn football into a fight. They want to push you. They want to punch you. They call it punching you in the mouth, knocking you backward. At a certain point, you need to have a little bit of what football coaches call blue collar in your offense. Shanahan is total finesse. He never wants to turn football into a fight, and you see it right here. They're on the 4-yard line, and they can't push the defense back. They're really trying to confuse the defense with this jet sweep action, and it doesn't confuse anyone. At the 4-yard line, you don't need 2 wide receivers on the field. You need to fight the other team. You need to put more mass and power on the field. That's what the Saints do. The Saints have the best red zone running game in the league, and I'm going to show you what they do down near the end zone. All right, let's watch the Saints run the same play. Here they're on the 8-yard line. But the main difference I want you to notice right away, yes, they have 2 wide receivers on the field, but there's no fullback, okay? There's a tight end. There's 2 tight ends, one here and one here. And if you look from the end zone angle, you see that one of the tight ends is an offensive lineman. I just said Kyle Shanahan is a finesse coach. He doesn't have any blue collar in his offense. He doesn't want to turn football into a fight. Sean Payton is a genius too. He can throw the ball up and down the field, but when he gets into inside the 11-yard line, he knows football is a fight. He brings the fight to the defense. He brings a 6 offensive linemen on the field. He did this 17 times in the red zone last year. The Niners never used 6 offensive linemen in the red zone, not once. This guy blocks 2 guys and allows Ingram to bounce to the outside. He's going to gain 7 yards and fumble the ball out of bounds. The Saints will keep it. But you notice, just look at it again. This is an offensive line that's going to push the defense back, not an offensive line that's going to get pushed backwards. The Niners in these situations gets pushed backwards. Double team here, double team here, double team here. 3 double teams. That's punching the defense in the mouth. They're not trying to trick anyone. They have Drew Brees on the field, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, or one of them. And they're running the ball down the defense's throat, not trying to trick them. 6 offensive linemen. Who's tougher? Who's bigger? The Niners can do this. This guy right here, that could be Joshua Garnett. It's a first-round pick, Josh Garnett. Have him be the 6th offensive lineman. I'm surprised the Niners didn't do this last year. Harbaugh did it. All right, here's another inside zone run the Saints used in 2018, this time from the 1-yard line. And again, notice 6 offensive linemen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy, they're going to run right behind him. He's the key to the whole play. Instead of this being Garrett Selleck or Ross Dwelly or some backup tight end, it's a 300-pound offensive lineman. He blocks this guy just enough and gets a piece of this guy. Kamara dives in behind him. Watch it one more time. Gets a piece of him, makes him take a bad angle, and then gets just enough of this guy so Kamara can jump in. Again, this could be Josh Garnett. The Niners can do this. It's just a philosophical thing. They have the personnel to do this. It's just on Kyle Shanahan to get some 6 offensive line plays in his playbook. Here's another play the 49ers can use in the low red zone, or specifically on the goal line. Here the Saints are at the 1-yard line. They have no wide receivers on the field. They have 3 tight ends, and one of them's an offensive lineman. Here's the 6th offensive lineman. Here are the 2 tight ends, and here's a fullback. Not trying to fool anyone, trying to push the other team backward. But instead of running the inside zone, which is the play I've just shown you the last 4 clips, this is a little variation. It's a different play, and the Niners can use it. It's a very effective play on the goal line. As you see, the Saints are in a position where they could sneak it across the line. So that all this Redskins are prepared to jam the middle of the field. So watch what the Saints do. They're going to run outside, and they're going to pull the play side guard. And Ingram's just going to fall into the end zone. So let's watch it one more time so you know what you look for. This guy's going to pull this way. The left guard's going to pull. These guys are all going to block down, try to wash these players down. This guy's going to come out and block him. If you know the entire defense is trying to shut you down up the middle for the quarterback sneak or the fullback dive, it's hard to defend this too. Watch how the defense is so committed to stopping this that they're not in a position to handle 2 blockers outside the tackles. And this is a very quick-hitting play as opposed to pulling the guard from back here. You pull the guard from in front. It's called a G lead. Saints use this a lot near the goal line and got quite a few rushing touchdowns with this play. The 49ers ran a G lead only one time in the red zone all season. It was week 1 against the Vikings, and here's what happened when they ran that play. Here you see the play side guard pull and block nobody, and Morris get tackled for no gain. He was on the 1-yard line. Let's watch it again. A couple of things. Well, let's watch it from this angle. First of all, you notice they've got 3 tight ends on the field, but not a 6th offensive lineman. This is Cole Wick, who's, I don't even know if he's still in the NFL. Third string tight end. Here's Garrett Selleck, probably won't be in the NFL this season. Instead of having one of these scrubs on the field, pardon me, I'm sorry, have another offensive lineman. Get serious. You're not faking anyone out here. Everyone knows you're running. That's the first thing. Second thing, watch Richburg on this play. This guy. He needs to get through these guys and block the middle linebacker. It's a tough assignment. I'm not sure why Kyle Shanahan would ask him to do that. But he doesn't even come close to getting it. He tries to go around him, gets clipped, and falls down. You see Richburg on the ground a lot. But even with that, even with not having 6 offensive linemen on the field, even with Richburg falling down, the play has a chance to succeed. The issue is, at this point right here, you've got 2 guys and 2 people to block. If this guy blocks him and this guy blocks him, it's a touchdown. Or if this guy blocks him and this guy blocks him, it's a touchdown. But what you get is 75 blocking the guy, Kittle's blocking, and Earl Mitchell having to choose one or the other. So this is a play that could have worked, wasn't executed properly, Wasn't really drawn up very well by Kyle Shanahan, but he scrapped it, never came back to it all season. Give it another chance, Kyle. It works for the Saints, and it can work for you if you just practice this a little bit more. So in addition to not using 6 offensive linemen in the red zone, the 49ers don't have a shotgun run game in the red zone. They ran the ball from the shotgun 10 times last season and gained 8 yards total. So they don't run outside zone in the low red zone because, as you can see, the safeties are so close to the line of scrimmage. Outside zone won't work. You need plays where the offensive linemen are pushing up the field and blocking people, not just moving them to the side. So that's one. But two, so I'm saying all they can do right now is run inside zone basically and little trick plays. No outside zone. Outside zone's off the table, and their shotgun run game isn't really effective either. So that's two things that they can't really do. When they're inside the 10-yard line, they're reduced to running basically inside zone from under center. This is what happens when they try to do it from the shotgun. Now, let's look at it from the end zone so you can get a clear picture of why this didn't work at all. First of all, the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, is not a run threat. No one on the Lions defense is expecting or worried about Garoppolo keeping the ball. They know Breida's getting the ball, and not only that, by the positioning of him, offset, they know he's running this way. He's not going to run this way. He has to run this way. So watch the middle linebacker right here. He beats Breida to that spot. He knows where the play's going before the play happens. There's nowhere for Breida to go. This play goes nowhere, and it's not the player's fault. Kyle Shanahan was out-schemed on this play. And it's all because he called a shotgun run from the 4-yard line with a quarterback who's not a dual threat. This is an easy play to stop if your quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. To run the ball effectively from the shotgun this close to the end zone, the quarterback has to be a threat to run himself. Because just count the numbers. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys in the box for the Seahawks against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 49ers. So 6 trying to block 7. If you count Juszczyk, then you could count this guy too and say 7 trying to block 8. Either way, the Niners are outnumbered. You need to have the quarterback be a runner too to even out the numbers. This is what happens when the Niners try to even out the numbers and have one of their quarterbacks run the ball. Let's just watch this in slow motion because it's so amazing. Oh, there goes the ball. This is a 2-point conversion attempt, so it wasn't a safety. Let's just watch it from the end zone real quick. Mullins, God bless him, sticks his head down, tries to get it, but dude, not a runner, shouldn't be put in this position. They should never have called this play for him. Let's see how the Saints run this particular play, the zone read, because it's not effective for the 49ers. Okay, so the Saints have the ball at the 9-yard line, and they're going to run the zone read, but what you notice is this isn't Drew Brees. This is Drew Brees. He's playing wide receiver. The Saints understand that the zone read is a great play for the low red zone, but they're not going to run it with Drew Brees. They're not crazy. They're not going to try to make a guy who shouldn't be running run the ball. They're going to bring in another quarterback, basically play him like a running back, and you have 2 running backs in the backfield who can do sort of like a wildcat look and run the read option. This time he's going to hand the ball off. But since the defense has to worry about the quarterback running the ball too, there's a lot more space for the running back to move. Watch how easily he scores his touchdown. The Niners running backs didn't have space like that out of the shotgun last season, and it wasn't their fault. Sean Payton's a master. I love watching him. But again, watch how much space there is for Kamara, all because of Taysom Hill. So, like the last play I showed, you have the middle linebacker overplaying the spot where he knows the running back's going to go. But this guy is key. He's the unblocked defensive end, and he's going to freeze in his tracks because he doesn't know if Taysom Hill might get the ball. So since he just stands there and does nothing, he gives this little cutback lane for Kamara, and Kamara scores a touchdown without getting touched. Now, do the Niners have Taysom Hill? No. But they have Jerick McKinnon. They didn't have him last season. He was hurt all year. They're going to have him next season, and he played quarterback in college. He's only played running back in college, and in the in the NFL, but he played quarterback in college, and I'm saying, why not? In the low red zone, let him be Taysom Hill, and let him run the zone read with Tevin Coleman or Jalen Hurd just like this. Taysom Hill completed 3 passes last season. He was not much of a passing threat, but this play still worked with him because he was a running threat who could pass just enough that you had to honor it, and I think McKinnon could do that too. Here's another zone read play with Taysom Hill at quarterback. He's right here. This was week 17. Drew Brees didn't play. This is Teddy Bridgewater, the quarterback at wide receiver. Watch what happens when this unblocked defensive end crashes down on the running back. Last time he just stood still, frozen, not defending anyone. This time he goes to the running back, forces Taysom Hill to keep it. Unlike Nick Mullins, this guy can actually run. He picks up 4 yards before he gets touched, and he spins out of 3 tackles and scores a touchdown. Now, Nick Mullins can't do that. Could Jerick McKinnon do that? Maybe. Here's another way to use a dual threat quarterback in the low red zone. You don't have to use him on a zone read. It's Taysom Hill. This is Drew Brees. This is a nice little change-up curveball you can throw. It's quarterback sweep with a little crack toss block here. This guy blocks down. Right tackle comes around. If this play looks familiar, it is. It's the one the Niners used back when Harbaugh faced the Saints in the playoffs. It was Alex Smith running the sweep in that game the Niners won. It's interesting to see Sean Payton remember that play and take it from the 49ers and use it 8 years later. It's interesting, Sean Payton has a Hall of Fame quarterback, and look at how much creativity and energy he puts into this red zone run game package for Taysom Hill. It's amazing, and it shows how brilliant Sean Payton is. Kyle Shanahan should take pride in this area of the field like he takes pride in his big plays. Take a page out, follow Sean Payton's lead in that respect. I just showed you Taysom Hill run a quarterback sweep from the 9-yard line and gain 8 yards. Just terrific gain in the low red zone. Here he is running the quarterback sweep from the 1-yard line. It's also an effective goal line play. You see again, you got the slot receiver cracking down on the defensive end. And this is a easy, untouched jog into the end zone. The Niners could use some easy, untouched jogs into the end zone next season. They didn't have many of those in 2018. So I've shown you how much the Niners could benefit from adding a 6 offensive line personnel package to their low red zone offense and adding a zone read package with a second quarterback. I suggest Jerick McKinnon. One more way they can beef up their low red zone offense or their red zone offense in general is just adding a couple trick plays, wrinkle plays that they use 2, 3, 4 times a season, because those 2, 3, 4 plays could be touchdowns. And remember, the Niners only had 4 rushing touchdowns all season inside the red zone. I think the Saints had 21. So any rushing touchdown the Niners can get, they should look for. This is the one trick play they ran last season, and it worked the first time. It's clever. Hand off to the running back, and then he pitches to the you hand off to the fullback and he pitches to the running back. It's like a college option play. And look, Breida's just running with no one touching him. This is an easy 13-yard gain. Let's see what happened the second time the Niners tried to run this play. Now they're going to try to run the same trick play from the 5-yard line. This is week 7 against the Rams. The same exact play from the same formation. Hand off to Kyle Juszczyk. The Rams are ready for it. They've seen this play in their film study. They tackle Juszczyk for a 5-yard loss before he can get the pitch out to the running back. Now, one more thing to notice. Kyle Shanahan expects Mike Person to block Aaron Donald one-on-one. That doesn't go so well. This play was wishful thinking on Kyle Shanahan's part to draw it up that way against Aaron Donald, to make no changes from when he ran it the first time about a month ago. It's good to have a wrinkle, but you kind of have to keep evolving the play, or else the second time you use it, teams are ready for it. This play worked one time. They never called it again in the red zone. I want to show you some of the wrinkles that the Saints used. All right, here the Saints are at the 1-yard line. No Taysom Hill on this play. This is Drew Brees. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to show it to you again and break it down. Because I really like this play. It's a nice play when you need 1 yard. Okay. So let's look at it again now that you know what's going to happen. The offensive line and these guys are going to block like it's a crack toss play, meaning these guys are going to go like it's an outside zone, an outside run to the right, and these guys are going to block this way. So he blocks him, or he blocks him, he blocks him. So that's what it's looking like. It's looking like a crack toss play to the right. The running back going to take one step to the right. Drew Brees going to take 1 step to the right. And while everyone's going this way and the defense is reacting to the blocking combinations, Brees and Kamara are going to fake and go back to the weak side of the formation. It's like a naked bootleg, except it's a naked toss. You know, you often see a quarterback fake the handoff and then come back around by himself. Instead of doing that, just toss it out there. I mean, the Niners could definitely run this play next year. There's no rule against the Niners doing this. All right, one final wrinkle the 49ers can steal from the Saints offense and add to their red zone rushing game. Now, this is sort of like the opposite of the play I just showed you before. Instead of faking a run to the right and tossing back to the tailback, this time they're going to sort of fake the toss to the tailback, hand it off to the running back up the middle. These two trick plays go together. You watch, Ingram's going to leak out to the right. And these two guys are going to react just long enough to give the fullback a little sliver of daylight to gain 4 yards on 2nd and 2. 4-yard run in the red zone is always good. But watch again. It's like the opposite. You're faking that toss to the weak side to get the fullback some room. So Drew Brees, he's going to give the ball to the fullback and then instantly fake a pitch here. And you just watch these two. They rock back, which is all the space Sean Payton is counting on his fullback having. He doesn't score a touchdown, but he gains 4 yards. Another play the Niners should definitely adopt, steal, whatever you want to call it, because number 42 is Zach Line. No one special. The Niners have the highest paid fullback of all time. They should be looking for ways to get him the ball like this. If it works for the Saints, it can work for the 49ers too. What do you think the Niners should do in the red zone?